Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Matt Fusari. Chapter 10.
Okay, this is part of a larger work I like to call The Factory, and it takes place sometime in the near future, about 100 years or so. And once again, I would like for you all to return with me to the early 22nd century. To a world where the next major industry in the United States is the manufacture of biological replacement parts. Where the impossible is now tomorrow's reality, and it's a world where man has advanced to such a level that it is possible to literally recreate the human body into the form a person desires. We continue the story of Fran Jensen, a young transgender who has quite literally been transformed genetically, biologically, and physically into a female. Or so we have thought. Due to a stroke that Frankie Jensen suffered, the transformation procedure was aborted while it was underway. As a result, Frankie Jensen and Fran Jensen are now two separate people. Frankie remains in a medically induced coma while his brain tissue regenerates, his fate ambiguous. Fran is a healthy, beautiful 30-year-old woman with all of Frankie's memories and emotions, but facing an uncertain future now that she knows the truth about her origins. In our last episode, as Fran finally accepted the aid of Dr. Dumaine, herself a recipient of the transformation procedure several years earlier, Frankie Jensen's father has had other ideas. Outraged that a new being has been created out of his son's mind and body, Franklin Jensen Sr. is taking steps to get his son away from Dr. Corbin, which may also ultimately pose a threat to Fran herself. And with that, I bring you Trans Episode 10. All right. We fade in mere moments after the end of Episode 9 in the parking garage of the Transformation Institute. An interior of the Frank Jensen's car at the same time, the afternoon. Karen Jensen looks coldly at her husband, Frank. As the argument intensifies, the close-ups of Frank and Karen become slightly distorted, shot on opposing canted angles. No, Frank. You will not. What? I said no. I don't believe this. This quack butchered our son. And now you're telling me not to do anything about it? Karen, you were opposed to this just as much as I was, if I recall correctly. Only because I thought it would hurt Frankie. I don't have a problem with how Frankie wanted to view herself. Him. He's male. He's our son. That's not what Frankie wanted. What you want isn't always good for you. Good for you mean, Frank. Do you think I enjoy this, Karen? I don't. Despite what you think, I love our son. I have always loved our son. I never fed into this bullshit that he's female the way you did, especially after all the times he came home with the shit kicked out of him from school because he came home in makeup and a dress. Franklin, what Frankie is not about us. Believe what you want, but we live in the 22nd century. You would think medicine would finally find a cure for this delusion. I mean, we finally managed to cure pedophilia. Yes, by rounding them all up into camps and killing them 20 years ago when they couldn't be reprogrammed without being lobotomized. Like, that's really a bad thing. But I'm not arguing with you on this, Karen. With or without you, I am getting our son away from Corbin as fast as I can. No, you're not. I mean it, Franklin. I don't like what's happened, but after speaking with Dr. Corbin, I don't believe there is any malice on his part. I do believe he was trying to save Frankie's life. And Fran's. Don't you dare! Don't you dare call that thing our daughter! I don't know what Fran is to us, but she's still a human being. She came from Frankie. That means she's a part of us too. Well then, maybe Dr. Frankenstein can take some spare parts from his blow-up doll and repair the damage he did to our son. And we cut to a two-shot. Karen angrily slaps Frank hard across the face. Karen appears more emotional now, more upset than before. Tears form in her eyes. Frank looks at her furiously and clenches his fist as if he's going to hit her. But he stops himself. Karen gets out of the car. I'll take a cab home. Do what the hell you want. I won't be there when you get back. You may as well get a damn lawyer. Karen slams the door shut. Frank turns the car on and drives away. Karen is in great anguish. No dialogue. We dissolve to sometime later. Interior Fran's apartment. Later that day. Fran's apartment door opens. She lethargically enters. Her head hangs downward as if she is ashamed of something. Her clothes are wrinkled and dirty. Her scarf is tied over her hair like a hood, covering more of her face. She removes it and her sunglasses, revealing a tired, depressed look. She tosses the scarf, sunglasses, and her purse on top of the counter, takes off her sweater and drops it to the floor. She heads to her bedroom and drops it on the bed next to Bob, next to her stuffed dinosaur. She stares at it and lays down. We cut to a close-up of Bob. The camera stays on Bob for a few minutes, as if the dinosaur is going to say something. But then we cut back to Fran. Fran clutches the dinosaur in a childlike manner and holds him tightly against her chest. No dialogue. And then we dissolve to Frankie's hospital room at the Transformation Institute. Later that evening. Frankie lay in his bed, alone. A similar camera angle similar to the last sequence with Fran is used. Frankie's eyes abruptly pop open. Cut to black. End of episode 10. More scene.
So was I right? Was that completely different? Not Fusari. So honestly, while I was traveling around this summer going to see the eclipse, I played those episodes in a row while I was driving in my car, and it was a real enjoyable time. So go to my YouTube channel, Mr. Tom 52. I spell it T-H-O-M. And you can see a whole bunch of Beacon music and also Matt's, all of his episodes. So next up we have Tim True. And then after Tim,